NASA's proposed changes to the commercial LEO destinations program don't happen in a vacuum. They happen to real companies with real capital deployed and real timelines on the line. Joining me now is Max Haot, CEO of VAST, the company building Haven 1, the world's first commercial space station, and a space capital portfolio company. Max, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me again, Chad.
NASA is signaling a potential restructuring of how it supports commercial LEO destinations. From where you sit, what's actually changing, and what does it mean for VAST's timeline and plans?
Yeah, for context, the ignition event that occurred, 3 months in the tenure of Jared Isaacman as the administrator, announced many things, and one of them was CLD. Just a first word, it's amazing that Jared Isaacman was able to do so much in so little time, and so many exciting announcements for America's space superiority. All of the moon increased cadence and the moon base, we are big fans and we're very excited and are responding obviously to all of the opportunities in RFI. Related to the CLD, the commercial LEO destination, if you take a step back, in 2018, President Trump announced the concept of transitioning our presence in low Earth orbit from a government-owned and operated space station, which is the International Space Station there right now, to a commercial space station or multiple commercial space station where NASA and the other international partners are one of many customers. And so you could think of it as a commercialization, commercial transition. Instead of owning and building it, they are basically becoming a customer of the service. And this is very similar to what has occurred to the transportation side that created the Dragon capsule and the Starliner capsule with great success. That announcement back in 2018, created an industry working with NASA, including VAST and some of our competitors, that are expecting this transition in about 2030, at the end of 2030 when the ISS is retired, and expect also a large procurement this year called CLD Phase 2. So back to the ignition event, what happened is that NASA basically made a proposal for an alternative plan. And that plan is for them to design, of course they will use industry to build it, but to design a core module, they call it, and that will temporarily attach to the ISS and then detach. But the big change in that proposal is that they are saying that NASA would design it and would own it. Industry will build it in the same way as industries built the SLS rocket, but it's a very different approach than the promised commercialization approach, which we obviously think is the right approach to make sure America has a continuous presence in low Earth orbit by the time the ISS is retired. Now, to reframe it, it's not a change. So at the end of the day, Jared Isaacman at a press conference made it very clear that this is an idea, this is a proposal, and what they want is to receive feedback. And the form of the feedback was an RFI, request for information, that was due about 10 days ago. And of course, we followed the process with our partner NASA, and we obviously listened to their plan, we considered it, and we responded to the RFI on time. In terms of the proposal, our view is that it is not the right way to make sure that we have a replacement of the ISS on time. The ISS has a leak issue. The ISS is a partnership with Russia, which geopolitically is challenging. And so our view is that the right path is to continue down the commercial route, to basically select as soon as possible 2 companies and to use the budget that has been allocated for the commercial LEO destination, which in our view is adequate to not only fund the development of 2, obviously VAST hope to be one of the 2 and winner, but also to share the utilization for a permanent crew between 2 stations if the 2 of them succeed at building it. So in our view, the budget is adequate. If they move quickly this year and award to 2 companies, there's still enough time to be ready by the end of 2030. And this is by far the right path within the budget and the timeline there is to pursue. So we've obviously advocated for our view and what's right in our opinion for the industry, but more importantly for America and the executive order of President Trump. And we eagerly await the follow-up discussion and to see what will happen.
There's nearly $4 billion in private capital invested into commercial space stations at this point. Mm-hmm. How do you think about the relationship between government anchor demand and private market momentum as you build Haven 1?
Our view is that there's obviously, to go fully commercial, you need a transition. And so in our business model, we need NASA as a customer, right? Not building their own station, but retiring the ISS and then purchasing service from us. When you have NASA as a customer, all of the other nations are following. The key ones is Japan and Europe, which are, key investors in human spaceflight. But it's also a growing market of international space agencies with many more countries that are getting involved. You've had in the Middle East, the UAE, as well as Saudi Arabia getting involved in human spaceflight. You have many additional European countries that were not part of ESA doing it. And so it's a growing market, and we need that market to be able to successfully transition to fully commercial. In the vast business model, with that current market that exists that is verifiable of sovereign space agencies in NASA, and we can not only reduce the expense to the taxpayer, so provide a better service at lower cost, but we can do it and reach profitability. And then we all have the hope of new markets, so manufacturing drugs in space and make life better on Earth and cure disease. Media and entertainment, sponsorship, private individual by mission. That's the new market that everyone that has a space station will get to develop. But in our business model, we are conservative. We are not attributing any material revenue to that. We look at the existing market of sovereign space agencies, and our low-cost approach, can get us to profitability there. Now, when NASA says they will become a customer and they are privatizing or they are moving to commercial, as they started to do in 2018, they send a signal to the investor community. And as you mentioned, that is raised between us and some of our competitor in this race to replace the International Space Station. That has raised more than $4 billion in private capital on this expectation of what will happen. So yes, clearly if NASA at the end says, hey, never mind, we will not be doing this, we'll just build our own, I think that will definitely hurt obviously the companies that have been planning for this, but it will also hurt the confidence in the government and NASA from the investment market that they can be a reliable partner, that you can wait for them over a long timeline and to fulfill the promise on which investors have made the bet in our companies. So, but once again, it's not decided. It is a proposal. And there are so many reasons why we believe the commercial path is the right path, and we have convictions, with data and arguments, and we believe that it will be a true dialogue, and we will find a solution that's great for America, for NASA, and the industry. So far, I think investors are asking questions and a little bit nervous, where will it go? But I think the confidence, can remain full, assuming, a valid path is chosen that makes sense.
Max, thanks for being here and for giving us the operator's view on what is genuinely one of the most consequential policy moments in commercial space right now. We'll be watching Haven 1 closely.
Great, thank you, Chad.